Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next episode in the podcast Cybersecurity in Business. We are going further and further in exploring different topics in the cybersecurity field, and it has been quite the journey so far. And to be honest, we are just at the beginning. Our next guest is quite interesting person, and it would be, I think, a very interesting approach and point of view for everyone to see how people interact with the field, how they interact with the business, and how do they mix both areas. With me today is Monika Atanasova, who is my next guest, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce her. She will say a few words about herself so that you would know more about what she does, what are her fields of expertise, and how she got really to the cybersecurity area. Monika, could you please introduce yourself and just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how did you come up to cybersecurity? Thank you.
Thank you, Evgeny. Hello, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Currently, I'm in an information security role responsible for cyber third-party risk management in one of the biggest Swiss banks, with a strong focus on cyber third-party risk management program and strategy. My role is to deploy cyber TPRM as a service within the organization and to enable business as well. And during my career, I've been involved in a lot of B2B contractual negotiations together with IT teams for digital products, for example, where security and data protection were central topics. So basically, I started to learn about security on the job, and I found out that as much as you read and learn about security, as interesting the topic gets. And of course, it's crucial to stay up to date within this field because it's very dynamic. So that's why on a regular basis, I focus on security education and trainings as well. Those are important for every security expert as the field of cybersecurity is a very dynamic one.
Thank you, Monika, for the introduction. You mentioned twice dynamic, and I think we can start from here. Since the cybersecurity ecosystem is very dynamic, what do you think is the proper balance between people and technology? What is the main driver, and how should one assess and approach this field?
Well, cybersecurity doesn't exist in a vacuum, but it does very well in a community. And it's definitely a team sport. So I think that collaboration and trust are the most important factors and main drivers when it comes to a collective resilience, which we need in cybersecurity. Within Cyber TPRM, we have a very complex ecosystem inside and outside of the organization. And in order to reach alignment and bring all of the stakeholders together, a key driver is to create transparency, visibility, and trust. So to share experience, lessons learned, and best practices. From my point of view, people need technology because it helps us to work smart and not hard, to be faster, more efficient, and also successful. And when technology is used in the right way, it creates value and helps to improve. In future, I think a lot of the current jobs will be replaced by technology, thinking about generative AI or humanoid robots, for example. But for sure, there will be great opportunities for new kind of jobs, exactly because of technology. And we may also not forget that technology has its limitations as well and challenges such as social, emotional, and cognitive. Therefore, a balance can be achieved when we consider using technology to enhance rather than replace human interaction. And human interaction, on the other hand, should be used also to complement, not to contradict technology. Only then we can reach a balance between people and technology.
Thank you for your really detailed answer. You mentioned the word collaboration, which I think is very key for building cybersecurity inside an organization. We often say that cybersecurity is not an end goal, something, when you finish the cross line, you're finished and that's it, you have cybersecurity. No, it's rather a process. So how do cybersecurity specialists and experts should approach the C-level executive when they introduce, or rather search for an upgrade, or maybe want to assess their current cybersecurity posture? What are the ways that we can, as cybersecurity specialists and people who are in the field, to properly, I'm using this word because I think it's the best way to describe, properly address this issue when we are at the C-level board meeting? Or how should do CISOs have place there, and what are the ways that they can influence, so that they influence the business in order to improve the security posture?
In general, there are two main points in my experience. First one is the ability to explain very complex topics in a simple way, meaningful to the recipients, and also to bring them to the point. That means to be able to translate and summarize complex and also sometimes technical topics into a language that C-level speaks and understands. And the second one is to build sustainable relationships and create awareness culture to promote the importance of cybersecurity for the organization at C-level as well. We read and hear every day about cyber attacks on supply chains and on critical infrastructures worldwide. So it's a topic on top of mind. And risks regarding ransomware attacks, for example, belong to the top 3 nowadays. It's important to point out that organizations may not wait to be targeted in order to start to think about prevention, but so proactively start to build up a strong security posture much earlier, before a successful incident happens. Because the best way to defend against cyber attacks and cyber crime is to prevent them. And the starting point, the very first thing needed, is C-level and also board level commitment and understanding, a management buy-in into cybersecurity, investment in people, processes, and technology in the right way. Awareness trainings, cyber attack simulations, incident response plans testing, to just give you some examples, need to be done on a regular basis to better prepare. Because as we know, it's not the question of if someone will get hacked, the question is more when, and what the consequences will be. And one last point I would like to mention here too is the importance of the CISO role. CISOs should be, from my perspective, a part of C-level in every organization. They should be experts with cybersecurity expertise, the right mix of cybersecurity knowledge and business acumen on supervisory and advisory boards as well. Because cybersecurity is a very complicated discipline, it requires a broad range of know-how and experience, ongoing governance and risk management, an effective cybersecurity program, and also organizational collaboration. And the ultimate goal of cyber risk management for the organization is to prepare and to operate at a high level of cyber resiliency. Only then cyber can be incorporated into the organizational culture and business operations. And the CISO role in the organization is crucial for reaching this goal.
Great. Moving further, as cybersecurity is developing, we are expecting that not only the business part of it, not only the technical part of it, but also the governance and the regulations will follow. And when talking about translating not only the issues of technology and security and risk from cybersecurity and from ransomware attacks to the C-level. We also need to talk about the translating the regulations that are coming from Europe to the business and to both public and private sectors. What are those regulations, and how do you think should we properly address them? How should we raise awareness about this?
So first one I would like to mention is called DORA. This is the Digital Operational Resilience Act, which is now law in European countries with enforcement starting January 2025. It aims to ensure that all financial institutions operating in the European Union are actively managing the operational risks stemming from their information and communication technology, so-called ICT. In essence, DORA holds financial groups accountable for the security of the tech vendors they employ, and it applies to third parties that provide critical ICT services to the insurance industry, which as cloud computing, for example, services, software, data analytics, services, and data centers. DORA could have a major impact on how CISOs measure and manage their security posture, and also the way they report on ICT risk in the boardroom. The second one is called CRA. The European Commission recently presented a proposal for the European Cyber Resilience Act. It aims to set the boundary conditions for the development of secure products with digital elements by ensuring that hardware and software products are placed on the market with fewer vulnerabilities and that manufacturers take security seriously throughout the product's lifecycle. It also aims to create conditions allowing users to take cybersecurity into account when selecting and using products with digital elements. The CRA is a draft and is therefore susceptible to change. And the third important one I would like to mention is NIS2 directive. By October 24, member states must adopt and publish the measures necessary to comply with the NIS2 directive. The main objectives of NIS2 are first, preventing, detecting, and responding to incidents appropriately. The second one, crisis management and operational continuity in the case of a major cyber incident. And the third one, ensuring the security of their supply chain, including providers of data processing or storage services. There is also one very interesting, important obligation. According to Article 20, governance, the management bodies of essential and important entities must approve the cybersecurity risk management measures taken by those entities, oversee its implementation, and can be held liable for infringements. And you asked me also how to spread awareness about those new upcoming regulations. I believe that a slide deck of some summaries for C-level, for the operational levels, for the board around the regulations will not be enough, and that companies need to consider how to change behavior within the organization. So to focus on the culture change within the organization.
Great. You mentioned two really important points. One, of course, was talking to the C-level boards and raising awareness, which will be part of regulation. So it's not only a good measure, a recommendation, but rather it's something that companies should oblige to. And the second thing was you mentioned supply chain, which I think is quite fascinating because more and more we see that as professionals, threat groups are attacking not directly their main target, but rather they go through the supply chain, meaning that, for example, I think that maybe 1 or 2 years ago, there was a very prominent attack on Toyota, and the information is public. So what the attackers did was they attacked suppliers of Toyota, which caused like 5% of decrease in production, which, if you think about a small company, 5% is nothing. But if you think about a company which generates hundreds of millions, probably billions each month, then the amount gets really tight. When dealing with suppliers and partners, how should one assess and prepare the legal part? How should we include security and security posture?
Absolutely important. And as I mentioned in the beginning, collaboration is crucial in cyber supply chain security. The contracting is an integral part of the collaboration with suppliers. And in order to increase the security posture, it's necessary to include information security relevant clauses in contracts, and to make sure that there is a written commitment from the suppliers that they comply with information and cybersecurity requirements. And this is not an opportunity for us to add 20 pages security attachments to each of our third parties' contracts and a kind to accept that's all we need to do. The contracts need to be sensible and also practicable. That means we need to be looking at the type of service that those third parties supply to us and design the security clauses based on the specific scope and use cases. And I would like to give you some examples of security relevant clauses we are talking about. For example, the right to perform security assessments or penetration tests, the obligation to report to the customers when security incidents occur, the commitment on direct contact persons and communication channels in case of a cyber attack on supplier side. Suppliers should also have InfoSec policies and awareness programs in place, and they shall commit to oblige their sub-suppliers, so-called end parties, to follow the same level of security when they deliver products and services to their customers. Also, the contractual part doesn't end with the signature. During the whole contractual phase until offboarding, there shall be a continuous tracking and monitoring regarding the correct fulfillment of security-relevant contractual obligations.
Thank you for the elaborate answer. When we talk about managing cyber risk, what do you think are the best practices and tips you can give as a professional in the field? And furthermore, what is your opinion about automation and the role of artificial intelligence? Those topics are quite hot, and they should, I think, be included in the scope of cyber risk, because there are a lot of cases where AI could be used with malicious purposes. And how much do you think we should keep our focus on those topics, and how should we properly engage in assessing the risk?
One basic technique is to practice a cybersecurity hygiene. It's a set of practices organizations and individuals perform regularly to maintain the health and security of users, devices, networks, and data. And the goal is to keep sensitive data secure and protected from theft or attacks, as you mentioned. And it's like brushing your teeth every day, again and again. And best practices for organizations are to follow IT security frameworks and international security standards, such as NIST, ISO, OWASP, ASVS for secure coding, for example, to create policies, programs, and procedures within the organization, to invest in security certificates such as ISO 27K or reports such as SOC or ISA. Also to focus on the ecosystem and create a trustful relationship, share, to be transparent, to follow a holistic approach. As data is key, we need to protect it in order to secure operational resilience and, most importantly, to maintain customer trust. Another best practice is related to automation, as it empowers organizations to do more with less. And from a security perspective, here are just some of the benefits automation can provide. For example, automation maximizes the efficiency of the security staff. Security automation can save costs of manual security. And it's also a major factor in our success at improving our cybersecurity posture. As the world becomes more connected, the risks of cyber attacks are now greater than ever before. And businesses are increasingly relying on third parties to support their operations, which in turn creates new opportunities for cyber criminals to take advantage of. And automation tools enable us to monitor assets efficiently and also respond to threats quickly, minimizing the impact on our businesses. And through scanning and analyzing the large amount of resulting data, automated risk assessment solutions and AI can identify potential threats and vulnerabilities, as well as prioritize them based on the level of risk. By continuously monitoring and assessing the risks associated with third parties or with the organization itself, we can ensure the security of our critical data. And with the right tools and strategy in place, we can protect ourselves and our partners against cyber threats, direct or indirect, to contribute to fight against cybercrime and continue to thrive into the digital age. I think that with automation, we can make smarter decisions. We are more productive, able to save time, and can fully focus on risk mitigation. And thanks to automation, we can move from a reactive and ad hoc silhouette to a dynamic, real-time, agile process-driven approach. So the visibility and efficiency, and at the end, the security maturity levels automatically increase. Automation and digitalization support also measurement. Continuous measurement is crucial if organizations want to improve and increase their cybersecurity maturity. And coming back to your question regarding AI, I would like to focus more on generative AI, which is something different than the traditional one. Generative AI is a technology that uses deep learning models to create something new. It learns very fast, and this will be changing the world. With time, it will become more accurate and improve efficiency in many sectors, also in cybersecurity. And it will help companies to leverage technology in a fast way. But as you also mentioned, I think that at the same time, we need clear rules on AI, as AI can create risks as well. And there will be regulations here too in future. Just as an example, a key committee of lawmakers in the European Parliament have approved the first of its kind artificial intelligence regulation, making it closer to becoming law. And the law takes a risk-based approach to regulating AI, where the obligations for a system are proportionate to the level of risk that it poses. And this one, known as the European AI Act, is the first one for AI systems in the West.
Thank you, Monika, for the really specific answers which you give, and the professional approach which you have in assessing cyber risk, and really translating those complex matters into a more native language. With the last question, I would like to get a little bit more personal. How would you motivate young people, and especially young women, in such a fast-paced and technical field? I know that you're also aware with the numbers that we have in cybersecurity, and the reality is that there are not a lot of women in the field due to different reasons, of course. But what would motivate young women to enter into this field, and what should they expect? You know, it's a very we should not be putting cybersecurity in some sort of mystery cloud where, you know, everything is sketchy, not so clear, and we should prepare young people to know what to expect. Or when somebody wants to transfer from one industry to cybersecurity, what should be the realistic expectations? What would you give as an advice?
This is an excellent question. Thank you for asking me this. Actually, everyone in the world should be a cybersecurity expert in future, I think. Because cybersecurity is about human protection. So everyone who wants to support and help to make the world more secure should think about a career in cybersecurity. And it's not only dark and technical one, it's inspirational and a very innovative field. It requires different skills and backgrounds and diverse teams and ideas. Currently and in future, there is and will be a career in cybersecurity for everyone, as we all live in a digital world. And there are a lot of well-paid cybersecurity jobs out there, and at the same time, a big talent gap. So I recommend young people or people who think about transferring into a new job field to use this opportunity. Regarding motivation and the few women in the field, I think that we should start with awareness, promote and teach children about cybersecurity even in kindergarten, at school, in early years. My personal vision is that cybersecurity gets an obligatory subject at school, like math or languages. After there is a wide understanding and transparency on what cybersecurity is, then cybersecurity will be accepted as an innovative and attractive job field by all genders. And then the question will not be, is cybersecurity a typical man-dominated job? In future, candidates will decide to go for the job because they are well informed about it and aware that it's a great one.
And with that, we conclude our episode. Thank you very much, Monika, for your positive attitude, for your openness and willingness to participate. I think this image which you give us really properly translates what cybersecurity is. It's not just the image which we have in our heads as people coding in dark rooms with hoodies on and some loud music. It's really a complex matter which includes many different roles. And with that, we conclude our episode. Thank you very much for all those who tuned in, who stayed until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have different recommendations, we are always open to listen. If you have recommendations for different people and experts in the field, we are also really keen to hear different voices. And stay tuned for more.